I stand by it. Tiger Stadium was loud that night. As we welcome you in.
All the fans are roaring with approval for Nathan Gertz.
I very much appreciate that, Chad Speaker.
Yes.
Garrett Davenport, Griffin Weinberg alongside, as well as we welcome you in this evening. Whether you are streaming us live on Twitter at MIMO Info Sports, on our YouTube page as well this evening, or joining us on MIMOinfo.com, or of course on the boot. We are very glad to have you with us here for our first playoff show of the season. We've had a full regular season's worth of ups and downs, highs and lows for all our area teams. But now, Griff, the real fun begins. The second season starts. And I remember hearing something from Jed Nagger, Valley Catholic head coach, 2 years ago on their way to winning a state title in one of my first conversations with him going into the postseason. He said, we divide the way the schedule is set up now, where you have the 9 games, and then you play 3 in your district playoffs and then 3 in the state. They divide the seasons up into thirds. Now, this is one of those big thirds starting this week for teams, district tournament time.
It is, and if I can use soccer terminology, the final third, I suppose.
Yes.
Well, actually, there may be another third after that in terms of the state
penultimate
playoffs.
Third.
The penultimate third. We can go with the penultimate third, yes. And I'm excited for it. There are a lot of great matchups here. And I cannot wait to start talking about them. Of course, we have Valley Catholic around here. That Class 3 District 2 tournament is going to be very, very interesting. That's when things I think are really going to start to be fun, maybe in a couple of weeks or so. But a lot of great games, a lot of stuff to talk about. Can't wait for it.
And, Chad, that's my biggest takeaway from Week 9 is the teams that are off this week, the 3 that have the byes, the 3 we've said are kind of the best in the area right now, Central, Valley Catholic, and Hillsboro. Takeaway this week is those teams are not slowing down. They continue, it seems to be, maybe even getting even better.
They're not slowing down at all. But at least and it seems like Hillsboro's just kind of been churning through everybody. But I think for Central and Valley, I think the off week could really help. Central has been so impressive, but they are dinged up. And so this could really help them just feel better, get close to 100% before they start. For Valley Catholic, I mean, their starting quarterback went down, so this could give him, an extra week maybe if they were working to try to get him back into the fold. But, Hillsboro is just a blunt instrument that's just beating people over the head right now. I don't know the inside workings of their team, but they sure look like they're ready to take on all comers right now.
And yet it sounded like you said, most of the head coaches who are going to be off this coming week, they said, we need the bye. We need to get as healthy as possible and get some rest. Garrett, I think the other theme of Week 9 is, and you got to see a team that did this, build momentum, head in the right direction, play your best football right now before you have to play your biggest football this week.
Yeah, it's always important to build momentum before such a big, momentous thing in your season, which is the state playoffs, of course. And I got to see, one of my teams, they did build some momentum. They're now on a win streak, and, if you're kind of ending the season on a lull, you still do get a chance to kind of fix things because, like I was telling some of the coaches, records reset at this point. It's 0-0. It's win or go home. So that's the best part about postseason football.
One of those teams playing good football, the Grandview Eagles, are our guests tonight here from Applebee's in Farmington. We will hear more from them in a little bit. And, of course, we'll go through the whole Week 9 scoreboard and give you an idea of what the brackets look like as we set the schedule for quarterfinal round action in the district playoffs. Let's dive into the games you heard on regional radio in Week 9, though, and we'll start on AM 800 KREI. As for the first time since 1960 and 1961, Central Rebels have beaten the Farmington Knights in back-to-back seasons, and the number 7 ranked team in Class 3 won this recent edition against the Knights 49-14. Central forced Farmington to punt on the game's first possession, and then they gave a preview of what was to come.
Takes the ball, comes back to the left to Deshaun Welch. And Welch has the middle of the field, and he is blazing down the middle of the field, the fastest man on the gridiron, and they will catch him. An 80-yard touchdown pass to the electric Deshaun Welch, and Central scores its first 6 points on their very first play.
I can feel Deshaun running as you're saying that, Chad. The fastest man on the gridiron. I can see it. I can picture that.
To be fair, I thought he was going to say fastest man in the world. I was like, well.
He popped through, and
Well, we apologize for a little cutout there, but we are back at Applebee's in Farmington here on J98 for the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable. Coles Tractor and Equipment on Highway 32 in Farmington. Don't just follow the herd, lead the herd.
You can blame me for that one.
Oh, well, I didn't have
No,
to.
no.
Garrett Davenport, it's fine. Not that we'll put your name on it or anything.
Don't have to be the fall guy for us.
Oh, I'll be the fall guy.
Griffin Weinberg and Chad Speaker here as well. We were going through the action on KREI, which Chad got to see up close. The Central Rebels winning 49-14 over the Farmington Knights. We talked about Deshaun Welch right away making his impact on the game. The season has been about Welch. The career he has had has really made him one of the great players in the program's history. But this particular night at Hale Memorial Stadium was largely about Rebel quarterback Jet Bridges, who completed his first 14 passes and ended up finishing this game going 15 for 16 through the air for 290 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Ball down the right side to Grant Mannion. Bridges says, I'm going to reward you.
Smells
You got
nice.
the football back for us. Here you go, brother. 37-yard strike. And Jeff Bridges continues to play spectacular football. He's been on fire the entire way so far. And he completes his 12th straight pass in this ball game. He's 12 for 12 now with 4 touchdowns. This one going 37 yards to Grant Mannion.
I think the 5th touchdown, Chad, exemplified that it was his night, because right after that first incompletion of the evening, throws a pass that gets knocked up in the air and just falls into Joe Bryant's arms on the run for a touchdown. That said, it's not like this has been a lucky bounce kind of thing for him all year, and especially this last Friday. We talk about Deshaun Welch. You have to worry about this senior Rebel quarterback, too.
Yeah, and you do. And part of the reason is because he has so many weapons, because you've got Welsh, who they were working it's almost like a luxury to work him into the passing game. Last year against Farmington was able to slow Welsh in the running game a little bit last year, and then they got him rolling in the passing game. And then all of a sudden he's now able to run as well. This was last year. This year, the very first play, they go to Welsh, 80 yards. But yeah, as far as Bridges completing his first 14, only one incompletion, and then, as you said, the very next one, he threw it into coverage a few times, but he was pinpoint. This time, he actually threw it into coverage. Farmington had a guy right there, knocked it up in the air. Joe Bryant comes swooping in, grabs it in the air, and skirts his way into the end zone. But Bridges, I think a couple of things for him. First of all, his decision-making is really, really good. And then secondly, once he locks in on where he wants to throw the ball, he can put it in that space.
Yeah, the Applebee's of Farmington player of the game for that performance, and deservedly so. The Knights found themselves down by 21, but Farmington's best shot came with the second quarter running out.
First and goal at the 1, and Felker dives in for the score. So the Central Rebels have dominated this first half of play, but Farmington controls the clock, controls the field, throws in some razzle-dazzle with a hook and ladder along the way, completes some passes, and then uses a little power to get it across the line. They've made it a 28-13 ball game with 16 seconds remaining in the first half.
Jake Bishop had a really nice night for Farmington, 12 catches for 141 yards for an option offense.
Really nice. And you guys, Garrett has covered Farmington, and you guys know enough about him to know that what the meaning of this stat is. Farmington had 27 rushing yards at halftime. I mean, that's the job Central did on them. But yet, and it wasn't smoke and mirrors. It was kind of find a way. It's still a 2-score game at the half, and so Central had outgained them 292 to 130 at halftime. And yeah, Farmington they're still there for the moment anyway.
Yeah, they just seem to find ways to hang around in every game. What makes the Rebels a little different is the fact that they put this thing away. As they got the ball to start the second half, Deshaun Welch goes 55 yards for a score on the first play. They're up 21 again, and they're not giving it back, as Welch would end up leaving no doubt to this one at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
And it'll be Deshaun Welch getting the carry, gets to the middle of the field, and now it's a foot race. Welch to the 50, to the 40, and Welch extending the lead with every step. Touchdown, Deshaun Welch, 88 yards. Welch now with 170 yards rushing on only 6 carries. And the Central Rebels lead the Farmington Knights 48-14. 11:29 remaining in the fourth quarter And the fourth time tonight, the Rebels have scored on a one-play drive.
To just add to the big play stats, Welch ends up with 258 yards from scrimmage, and I think 4 touchdowns on only 9 touches.
Just touched it 9 times.
How do you stop this kid? I mean, there doesn't seem like there's going to be an answer, not just for the teams in our area that Central will potentially face again, but for anybody in the state when we get to these Class 3 playoffs.
And it isn't Jerome Bettis, right? Like, you know where he's going. It just doesn't matter. He's going through you. It's a pairing, I think, of the spectacular talents of Welsh, but then the ability of Corey Schweiss to scheme it up, because they get him the ball in a variety of ways. We'll run some screen game for him. He will bust it between the guards. We'll send him off tackle. We'll pitch it. They'll throw it out in the flat and get him some blockers. And to me, that's exactly what modern football is about. Identify your athletes, get them the ball in space, and that's what they're doing with Welsh.
Yeah, and to that point about scheming things up, we talk about what Corey Schweiss does as a playmaker or a play caller offensively. After the game, he credited his defense's plan and their solid execution against the Farmington run game.
I thought we did a really good job of holding their ground game under control. I mean, we just take away their inside gas, make them force it outside, which they do a good job of that. But our secondary guys did a great job coming up and helping out on the run. I think they got really good keys and reads, because I think Coach Jones did a phenomenal job game planning tonight. I think, our telltales, what they were doing, our guys got a quick first step, and that goes a long way to getting where they need to go.
Yeah, even as Farmington does a little better in the second half running the ball, they still end up with just only 159 yards, one of their low totals of the season. Flip side of this one for the Knights, their head coach Eric Krupe, despite that loss, still proud of their 6-3 regular season.
That's what we talked to the kids about, and I'll probably stress it more when we come back on, Monday and Tuesday. It's never a good feeling when you lose to a rival. So,
It's reconnecting. See?
Yeah, it's on a hotspot.
Shouldn't it be on hotspot? No.
Shouldn't be. Just use data.
For a grade A grand champion for regular small curd.
So we want to turn off the.
Yeah.
For original cream cheese.
Why is it connected to my phone? Hello?
I haven't had trouble all year.
With over 50 classes being offered, these 90-minute no-cost virtual business
All the
courses
people streaming online are still with us. So, hello.
Could we use the other phone to connect real quick?
No, we're connected now.
Yeah.
Client service. Visit one of their 6 branches in Jefferson County for more information, or go to enterprisebank.com, member FDIC.
Well, back here on the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable, as we kind of round out our thoughts on that win for the Central Rebels over the Farmington Knights. You heard Coach Krupe bringing up, this not's going to define their season in any way. It's another night that just sort of proves how good this Central team is, Chad.
Yeah, Central, fantastic. And, I was thinking at the end of this game, how impressed then this, to me, it made it look the St. Genevieve game. I mean, because Farmington's a stout team that played a very good schedule, and they really never got close to slowing down the Central offense. The Central's only loss, they scored 52 points, and so that made me think, wow, St. Genevieve must have had a great game plan and a great effort that night.
A lot of coaches will be clamoring perhaps for Jay Pope's tape on what he did defensively. He calls the plays on that side too. Central getting a first-round bye as they finish the regular season 8-1, while Farmington gets set to host Perryville in the Class 4 District 1 quarterfinals. More on that game in a bit. Let's talk about the one we had on J98 Friday night, as Valley Catholic capped off an undefeated regular season with a 63-0 win over St. Pius. Number 2 team in the state in Class 3 got the opening kickoff and marched 71 yards right down the field to open up the scoring.
Back on the ball. Snap, handoff to Giesler up the middle. That's a touchdown for Bryce Giesler. His 19th rushing score of the season puts Valley Catholic up 6-0 with 9 minutes and 11 seconds to go in this first quarter.
The Warriors came into this game scoring 51 points per game, but those points don't just come from their offense.
Putting a man in motion left to right. Smith takes
Giesler over 1,200 yards now.
Lets it go, and that's
He was over
picked up by
1,200 coming
Valley.
into the game.
Now running into the end zone is Charlie
I
Freeman.
think he's over 14
for
now.
a touchdown. Valley up 12-0. 6 minutes and 48 seconds left in this first quarter.
Valley's defense would force a 3-and-out on the ensuing drives. Aiden Heberly takes a punt into St. Pius's red zone. Looks like senior running back Luke McClure on the first play of that Warrior possession is going to extend their lead. Touchdown gets called back because of a holding penalty. This is how good Valley is. On the next play, McClure gets another chance, and
Grant Fowler going to take over. First and goal at the 11-yard line. Takes a snap, hands it off to McClure again on the left. And this time he will get into the end zone. Luke McClure, there it is, his first rushing touchdown now.
It's the same exact play, too. That's the funny thing about it. Yeah, it was the same play, same block and everything, ran it into the same spot in the end zone. It's just some things it's very hard to tackle against the offensive line for Valley Catholic. It's hard to get past those guys. They're so in tune with each other. They're just, the communication is on point. That's going to be one of the more difficult things for teams to game plan against moving forward, how to get past that offensive line.
you want to talk about how good this offense has become running the football. The Lancers finally start to push Valley Catholic backwards. They force a punt. Connor Hamilton makes an open field tackle on the punt return by Heberly to put them at the 25. There's a penalty and a sack by junior Alex Moises for the Lancers. So Grant Fowler gets dropped. Valley's at their own 5-yard line, and here's how junior Bryce Giesler responds.
From the 5-yard line, 2nd and 25, taking the snap, handing it off. Up the middle is Giesler breaking some tackles. He's got some open space after moving to his right, crossing the 50, crossing the 40, breaks one tackle across the 30, 20, 10, 5. What a touchdown by Bryce Giesler. 95 yards to give Valley a 26-0 lead.
You know, we talk so much, Griff, about what Valley can do passing the ball the last couple of years and the quarterback play that they've had and what it could be if Chase Fowler comes back this season. Man alive, this is as good as they've been running the ball in a long time.
Yeah, it just goes back to the offensive line and what they're able to do there. I think they had, coming into this year, 7 guys who started at least one game on the offensive line last year. 4 of the offensive linemen who started the season started at least 4 games last year. And then they have other guys, who they've kind of shifted around. And, Mike Okenfoos, I think he was on the O-line last year. He's more of a blocking tight end this year. You can put him out. He can catch balls. It's the experience. That's what I think this is. There's a lot of experience on this team. People have played in big situations. And it's very important that last year they got that Class 3 experience, especially going into the state tournament as well. They know what to expect coming into this season, and the running game is just, you said it, Giesler, first 1,000-yard rusher in 8 years or so. Things are just really clicking for this team.
You mentioned line play, and you mentioned that last name, Okenfuss. It was 28-0 Valley after the first 12 minutes, but when St. Pius starts the second quarter with the ball, the Warrior defense strikes again courtesy of their line play.
Dan Oliver said that James is a lot like his brother, able to run around, get some passes off. He's got trips on his right now with a receiver on his left. He's going to look to throw again, facing pressure from 2 defenders. Ball knocked out of Smith's hands, rolls into the end zone, picked up, recovered by Valley for a touchdown. It's Tim Okenfoos. His first fumble recovery of the season is good for 6. Gives Valley a 42-0 lead over St. Pius.
A couple minutes later, the junior did it again.
Here's 3rd and long for St. Pius. James Smith, 2 receivers either side. Snap, running around. Sack in the backfield. Drops the ball again. It's picked up by Valley. Ran into the end zone for a touchdown. That's Tim Okenfoos again. His second fumble recovery for a touchdown in this game. Put the Warriors up 48-0 over St. Pius with 9 minutes and 14 seconds to go in this second quarter.
That is a big man's dream kind of night, and he did it in the span of really less than 3 minutes of game time.
Yeah, it just all kind of came together for him. Being at the right place at the right time. I can't remember if he was the one who actually knocked the ball out of James Smith's hands, but he was there to recover it. He's got a couple scores. It's now 3 in the past 2 games that Tim Okenfoos has had a defensive touchdown. So not bad, not bad rolling into the playoffs for the Okenfoos kid.
He was our Applebee's of Farmington player of the game, and after the words, Valley head coach Judd Nagger gave credit to his fast defense.
We got a fast defense. We're fast up front, and certainly that led to 4 scores for us. And I'm not sure we've ever had that many in a game. Maybe one time way back against Hayti, we scored 49 in the first quarter one time, and it was a lot on the defensive side of the ball. But,
Love how he remembers that.
Timmy scored 3 times now the last 2 weeks. I think he's starting to become a little bit of an addict of the end zone, so that's a good thing.
What are they listening to there in Valley?
In that boys at fall?
Got some smooth
Yes.
country.
Yeah. They had a lot of good tunes. The sound system very loud there, but it was great. A lot of great pregame music. Couldn't be more proud of my experience.
And post game too.
Yeah, and the post game as well. Couldn't be more proud of the experience at Father John's Dempsey Field. Thank you, Coach Nagar, for setting us up in the press box as well. Beautiful. I mean, you got heaters in there, got everything. Harry, he does the PA announcing for Valley Catholic. He's been doing those games for over 20 years or something. He's like, all right, yeah, you got the heater, you got the windows taken down. Do you need anything else? I was like, maybe a couple cigars, then I think we'll be good.
Tour the trophy room.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Trophy. I mean, who so much greatness in that trophy room too. It's something.
Father Dempsey Stadium is an excellent venue. They did very well when they put that place together a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think bottom line for this one, Garrett, there are people who are going to point to this and point to Dan Oliver, who talked in our pregame conversation with him, said, we're going to pull some of our starters. We're going to make sure our guys are ready for the playoffs. The majority of the starters were out there in that first quarter, and Valley's up 28-0.
Yeah.
I've compared it with other coaches before to the Boulder in Indiana Jones. When it gets going downhill, you can't stop it.
No, it's just going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. You just kind of have to hope that you get out of the way and that you don't get hit by that boulder. And the starters, they ended up coming out a little bit later than I anticipated. They were in there for pretty much the entire first quarter. Colin Smith was the quarterback for the entire first quarter. At least there's that. Nate Rubel did not play. Eli Frimmel did not play as well, so they did seed a couple guys. But, it was kind of the plan going into the game that, the backups are going to be in there. But still, 28-0 for Valley on top of a St. Pius team that just won the I-55. They finished the season 7-2 now. And it seemed like they were pretty set on the fact that they would have the 2 seed in Class 1 District 2. They felt good about it. But the loss, and then Mark Twain ended up winning. But Mark Twain up to the number 2 spot. St. Pius down to the number 3 spot as well. So St. Pius will now have Crystal City coming into this Friday night.
It's good for us.
Yeah,
very good for us.
Yeah, we're excited to be there on AM 1400 Jeff. We'll talk more about that game. But, Pius doing what they can to keep guys fresh. Meanwhile, Valley finishes 9-0, and they also got the pleasant surprise that their 17 district got chopped down to 6, one of the teams dropping out, meaning that Valley has a first-round bye this coming week in Class 3 District 2. Well, let's also talk about the game on AM 1400 KGF this past Friday night. The Herculaneum Blackcats closed out the regular season on a 3-game winning streak, and the latest victory, they defeated the Perryville Pirates 24-10 on senior night this past Friday evening. It's actually the Pirates who hit pay dirt first. Devin Lucifer puts his head down and picks up a big game to open the scoring.
Here's the snap, and it off to Lucifer, counter plays to the left side.
I did not know that. Was it Donovan that dropped out? Bayless is playing, so whoever the other team is. Interesting.
It would have been... It didn't take long for the Blackcats to respond, though, as DJ Johnson found a hole in the Pirate defense and came up with a 43-yard score.
Jet sweep to Johnson. He's trying to get down.
Bayless is playing St. Jim now, and that's who Valley thought they'd play.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the team is that dropped out.
I thought it was Donovan.
Touchdown, DJ Johnson, 43 yards. Wow, what a move.
It was a winless team, I know that.
Johnson, you thought he wasn't going anywhere, found a lane up the middle, hit the right stick in the left direction, made a juke move, and got to the end zone for a touchdown.
2-point conversion for Blaine Boss and the Blackcats gives them the early first quarter to lead. The defenses take over for the next 11 minutes. Neither team could sustain a significant offensive drive, but then, with 3:15 left in the first half, another Blackcat big play.
He's looking for Wise, deep ball in the corner of the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Blackcats. 20-yard pitching catch from Jackson Deering to Tanner Wise. 14-7, 3:15 left to go in this first half.
This, I think, is a big thing for Herculaneum right now, Garrett, that they have their starting quarterback, Jackson Deering, out there playing. I don't know if he's 100% who is this time of year, but the reality is, so far this season, their best offensive performances are when he is out there playing, and he's really been very effective.
He, especially against Perryville, he was slinging it. I mean, he has great receivers out on the outside with Weesey. Apologize for not saying his name correctly, and also DJ Johnson. I mean, they were open almost every single time throughout the middle, over the sideline. Always had to step on a defender. But Jackson Deering, I mean, he is not 100%, by the way, and was still able to put over 150 yards passing. I mean, once he becomes completely healthy, this could be a dangerous team.
Yeah, and that's really all the compliment they need as long as they're running the football well, and they were doing that on Friday night. Perryville, meanwhile, gets 2 different botched snaps on Herculaneum punt attempts that ends up resulting in fumble recoveries in Black Cat territory. They only get one Ty Peeler 34-yard field goal out of it, so they're on the board, down just a score, but it's 16-10, and the Pirates just couldn't hold off that Black Cat offense for much longer. And on a really special senior night for the senior DJ Johnson, he took over for a game-sealing touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Wildcat DJ Johnson cuts up the middle, makes a man miss, juke move. He's at the 50, the 40. He's going down the sideline. He's at the 20, the 15, the 10. Makes a man miss. Touchdown, DJ Johnson. Out of a Wildcat. Wow, what a run. What an athlete. DJ Johnson does it again.
Johnson, not just the Applebee's of Farmington player of the game earlier today, he was our Applebee's of Farmington athlete of the week for the 287 all-purpose yards he put up. Had a chance to catch up with him afterwards and asked how it felt to win on senior night and keep a winning streak going as they head into districts.
They feel very good. First win on senior night in a long time. It felt good to get another win at home, 3 wins back-to-back, so it felt pretty good. The win streak coming from the defense, playing hard, making big plays on defense. That's what all the wins coming from, the defensive side.
Yeah, he can credit the defense all he wants, Garrett, but in talking with Blaine Boss earlier today after DJ was named Athlete of the Week, he says we've had to have him be the workhorse that he is. He's up to 400-plus yards in this 3-game win streak. They need that running ability in order to make you fear them a little bit when they do throw it with Jackson Deering and just keep the offense on schedule.
Now, I'll tell you what, DJ Johnson, he is explosive. He has a quick first step. That's the thing. He's able to get to the outside real fast. They like to bring him outside the numbers, and he does a really good job with that. And this Wildcat is something that they've been working on, but that's something they've been doing almost the entire second half against Perryville. Put DJ Johnson, direct snap, let him do what he does, and apparently that scored touchdowns and gain yards. But yeah, no, I mean, there was a play. The first time they were in the Wildcat, they were on their own 2-yard line. They gave it to DJ Johnson. This time he went up the middle, stiff-armed a guy like it was Derrick Henry, and got all the way to midfield. And yes, this DJ Johnson kid, got to give him the ball at this point.
Yeah, sometimes you just line up in the Wildcat or single wing, put the ball in the hands of your best player, and go to work. And that Herculaneum has done as they finish the season with a record of 4-5 and get to host a playoff game this coming weekend against Roosevelt. Meanwhile, as mentioned, Perryville finishing 2-7 heads to Farmington Friday night in the Class 4 District 1 quarterfinals. Plenty more on all those matchups in just a little bit. Right now, we're going to take a very quick timeout. Come on back, give you the rest of the Week 9 scoreboard. That is next on the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable right here on J98.
So I did not know that the team, whoever it was that Valley was supposed to play, just dropped out.
Yeah, I didn't. We're back here from Applebee's in Farmington. Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable rolls on. Told you about the games that we had on regional radio as the Central Rebels knock off the Farmington Knights 49-14. The Valley Catholic Warriors beat the St. Pius Lancers 63-0, and the Herculaneum Blackcats win their third in a row, beating the Perryville Pirates 24-10. Let's take a look at what else happened in Week 9 around the area. We had one Thursday game. The North County Raiders beat Sullivan 37-0, so they finished the regular season 8-1. And then among the games on Friday, the Grandview Eagles knocked off Chaffee by a final 41-26. The Eagles are our special guest tonight. We're going to hear from Dave Dallas and some of his players in a minute. Rest of the scoreboard goes like this. We'll start with the big winners. The Potosi Trojans, they knock off the DeSoto Dragons 48-0. Trojans coach Dylan Wyrick says Blake Coleman, his starting quarterback, spread the ball well.
He did a really good job tonight. He threw the ball really, really well. And we were able to get some seniors in there for senior night that typically don't get to play much, and he was able to put the ball in their hands too and just pass the ball around quite a bit to different guys, and did a really good job in the pocket, stepped up and took some shots, and delivered the ball in time. And he's a great kid, a good commander of the offense.
Jefferson wins a close one at St. Vincent 20-14. Blue Jays head coach Alex Strugley had praise for his defense.
Our kids played really good on the defensive side of the ball. I was real proud of them. It was 13-0 game half. We went up 20-0 there at the beginning of the third quarter. And, we made a few mistakes with a turnover. And then, it kind of hit us in the rear end of blown coverage. But that being said, our kids played really good defense. It's a good football team. It's a good football team. And, we're really proud to come out of an environment down to St. Vincent and Maryville that's tough to win at. And we're proud to come out with a victory.
Hillsboro, who is now up to number 7 in the Class 4 state rankings, goes on the road, knocks off Poplar Bluff 45-19. Hawks coach Bill Saharsky talks about the win over the Mules.
Our kids, they had to earn those points. They had 2 of their touchdowns.
It's an impressive win.
Inside our red zone. Credit to them.
It was 19-13, I think, at one point.
Fourth.
Yeah, into the fourth, and they just ran away.
We got a good running game, and so we only threw
They almost beat Farmington, right?
Really just able to chunk it out for 4 or 5 yards
should
and
have.
methodically drive. We started the game off with having about 7-8 minute drive to score. To go up in the first quarter, and our offensive line, our receivers, those kids, they did a lot of the dirty work tonight for our backs.
Hillsboro into a bye in the first round of the district playoffs. They're going to be our guests next week on the round table. Festus wins 49-7 to wrap up the regular season. They beat St. Charles West. Tigers head coach A.J. O'Fadale calling it a comfortable win this week.
A lot more comfortable than what we've been experiencing the previous week. So, kind of a week off from the stress. We got off to a fast start. We ran the ball better than we had, and we finished in the red zone early in the game, so that got us out of it a little earlier this time.
St. Genevieve knocks off Brentwood at home 55-14 to finish the regular season 6-3 on a 3-game win streak of their own. St. Gen head coach Jay Pope says the Dragons are playing their best right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're playing our best football here to close out the season. And certainly the kids are dialed in and focused on, not just games, but at practice. Certainly been on teams where, who you are week 2 or week 3 is kind of who you are the whole season and never get better. But this team certainly is not that. We feel that each week we continue to improve and continue to get better. And, it's really showing out there on the field.
Great win for Fredericktown Friday night. I think they've won 3 of their last 4, and that includes their first home victory of the year on Friday, 50-14 over East Prairie. Blackcats head coach Jake Whitener saying it's always nice to win on senior night.
So we sent the seniors out with a kind of a good token on their way out. Not the season's over, but it is here in Blackcat Valley. So offensively, it was one of those where we went in knowing East Prairie was extremely banged up, and we've been in their shoes. We finished our season last year in their shoes. So, it was one of those where pretty much anything we called was working or moving the ball. So, trying to put ourselves in a little bit of system of knowing what it's like to be on their sideline and just kind of nickel and dime it down the field.
Let's jump to the Suburban Conference, where Northwest is on a 4-game win streak after they beat Oakville 35-9. Lions coach Nick Oath says it's a great time to be playing their best ball.
We're playing really good ball right now. We're healthy, and our defense especially has just gotten better week in and week out. That's been the biggest difference for us.
And a little bit of history for Seckman as they go on the road and beat Parkway South 42-7 to finish 7-2. Jaguars head coach Nick Baer happy about that win.
We were able to seal up another goal tonight that started all the way week 2 against Oakville, and we got our first conference championship in program history. We get to hang that first banner, and we're really excited about it.
Teams on the wrong side of it, unfortunately, this week. The Fox Warriors, they lose 40-7 at home to Ladue. The Crystal City Hornets, their 3-game win streak gets broken up as they fall at Portageville 52-22. And the Windsor Owls lose on a touchdown pass with no time left on the road at Lutheran South and fall 19-18. A rough way for Jeff Funston's team on a very competitive night to wrap the regular season. Guys, obviously time for us to run through the big winners of this week as we go through that schedule. And I'm going to start and take the Seckman Jaguars. You heard Coach Baer say that's the first conference title in school history. They've also now set a single-season record for wins with 7 for the program. It felt like they were getting closer and closer to being the best team in school history last year. They came in determined this year to have a great year. And the only 2 losses they have on their schedule are to teams ranked in the top 10 in Class 5 and Class 6. They've been excellent, and they solidified that with a win there. And now is an opportunity to go out and make more history this week. They've still never won a district playoff game. They can do that if they win Friday evening. Chad, big winner for you this weekend?
I kind of building upon Fredericktown, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that was the first time that they'd won kind of going away, where there was no doubt they put that team away early in that one. I thought Hillsboro. It's a quality. It doesn't mean anything for district or conference, but a quality win. I mean, I think Poplar Bluff, I saw them. I think they're a good ball club.
Bluff and Seckman is a potential matchup in the district semifinals in Class 5 District 1. I'd pay good money for that game. I think that'd be fun.
Poplar Bluff has a 4-year starting quarterback. To hold them to 19 points was a really nice effort.
And just to add on to that, I remember Chad talking about this. I mean, Poplar Bluff gave Jackson a pretty good shot
They
as
did give
well.
a good game.
So Hillsboro, I mean, that win is just wow. I mean, it was kind of eye-popping because I was with Lee Freeman on our broadcast, and even he was just like, whoa. It was that big of a victory.
It was a 19-13 game at one point in the fourth quarter, and the Hawks just kind of ran away with it. Garrett, got a big winner for this week?
I'm just looking around, and honestly, I talk about this team a lot, but I definitely think this is a big win for them, and that's the Festus Tigers. I mean, you get a lot of games where you lose just so narrowly. Having that big blowout victory can do a lot for your confidence, and they need that confidence now. They were able to put in 4 quarters of good football. If they can do that in districts, they will be a dangerous team. And that's what they need. They need to have that momentum. That's something we talked about a little bit earlier, is having that momentum going into this week. And right now, if they can catch lightning in a bottle, they can do something real good.
They hung 62 points in back-to-back weeks, first third of the year against DeSoto and Windsor. That's the last time before this week that the final margin of victory on either side was 1 score or less. They've been in nothing but close games for the last couple of weeks, and you heard Coach O'Fadale deep sigh to know they just went out and beat somebody handily.
It's also one of those things, like when you're Coach O'Fadale, what do you keep telling your guys after these close losses? Now you get to say something different. You get to spark your guys up in a different way. So, I'm happy for AJ O'Fadale getting another victory and, getting to tell those guys something different. And like he said, it's all preseason games up until now. So let's see how they do.
Griff, big winner for you this week?
Chad mentioned it a little bit, but Fredericktown is my big winner. Winning, you said it, Nathan, 3 of the last 4 as well. They're riding high, and they said when they came on the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable earlier in the season, we won Potosi again. They got Potosi again.
Their wish, right?
Yeah, they got their wish.
Watch what you wish for, but
yeah, but they wanted them again, so now they're going to get them again. I think that is the real definition of a winner.
They had 2 very stated goals: the home victory, the first one of the year, and Potosi, round 2. And round 2 is coming on Friday night after getting that home win.
And then also just Valley Catholic as well. The fact that they do end up getting a bye week this week, that they get some time to rest a little bit, just kind of prepare for St. Genevieve, because that defense, I think it's going to be a much different game than the first time around when Valley beat St. Gen 46-0 in week 2. There was some other stuff, that kind of hindered St. Genevieve coming into that week. And it's a very different Dragon team. Their defense is going to come into this game prepared. I don't think it's going to be Valley blowing them out again like that. I don't think they're going to put up, gigantic numbers against them. It's going to be a very good matchup. Should St. Genevieve get past their first week
And some-
district game.
Bayless 0-9. I mean,
yes,
I think you're pretty safe in your assumption.
Sure.
And some really good teams for Valley Catholic in the past have not finished the regular season undefeated. Their last state champ in 2019 lost the game where their starting quarterback, Chase Dunlap, got hurt, and some kid named Chase Fowler, a freshman, was pulled off the bench and thrust into action. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
after that.
things working like that this year as well. Chase Fowler hurt. Grant Fowler steps up into the action. He's doing pretty solid, leading an undefeated team right now.
I'm with Coach Nagger. Grandpa Bob must have been some sort of superstar player back in his day.
Just throwing hay all the way
Delivering
across
some Joe
the
Bowles
field.
coming up next.
You laugh. I've baled hay before.
I know.
That's all the workout you need.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
We're going to take a time out. Come on back. Maybe we got a couple guys from Dittmer who have done some hay baling in the offseason. The Grandview Eagles, our special guest tonight. They are 6-3 heading into the postseason. We're going to talk about them trying to get their first playoff victory. That is next on the Coles Tractor Equipment Football Roundtable. We welcome you back to the Coles Tractor Equipment Football Roundtable here on J98. Appreciate you tuning in for us here for our Week 9 going into Week 10 edition of the show. And we are, as always, joined by a guest here in Applebee's in Farmington. Tonight it's the Grandview Eagles. We've got a couple of their senior leaders here, Clayton Riddle, Chase Wilson, Eric O'Brien, and Ryan Rubel. Coach Dave Dallas along with us here. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here this evening. 6-3, finished things off with a win against Chaffee. I think it was 5-4 last year, so this will be the best season that you guys have had, not just for you, but for the program for a long time. First and foremost, how does that feel? And I'll let you start, Clayton.
It feels real good. We've worked hard since our freshman year, and freshman year we didn't win a game, and so it feels good to have 2 wins our sophomore year, 5 junior year, 6 our senior year, hopefully getting 7.
There's been so much building because a year before you guys came in, there was no varsity football. It was a full JV squad. So, Chase, you had to play right away as a freshman. how nice it is to be in this place where you've been around the block, and at the same time, you're also just a better football player and a better athlete than you were at that time.
Yeah, well, it feels great. Like you said, we didn't win a game my freshman year, and I did play varsity. I had to play up. Coming to my senior year, winning 6 already, hopefully winning 7. Feels great.
What do you feel like you learned the most about having to play all 4 years?
Definitely playing as a team. You gotta help your teammates play as a teammate.
Ryan Rubel, I want to talk to you a little bit about having to maybe step into a bigger role this year because a lot of these guys have been involved the last couple of years as starters, as sophomores and juniors and seniors. Early in the year when Chase was hurt, you had to take on more of a role in the offense, and obviously you're asked a lot on defense. What did you do to ensure that you only got better from last season?
Well, starting in the summer, I worked as hard as I could, made sure that I could fulfill the role and help our team out the best I could, just playing hard, being there when they need me.
Eric, the success last year was more than you guys had ever had in a very long time, at least for the program. You got a winning season in. What did you tell yourself that you feel like you're still telling yourself now? Hey, I'm not going to get complacent. Here's why we can be even better.
Personally, I just tried working a lot harder, more time in the weight room, more time focusing in practice, just grinding it out better. And I think our underclassmen played a huge part in that also. They've gotten better. They've helped us get better. We've all gotten better. Just team effort.
It's definitely worked out as the Grandview Eagles are 6-3 so far this season. There was a couple weeks ago that long road trip to Columbia that I know didn't go your way, where that's first half lead unfortunately goes away. Clayton, do you feel like it was a plus in some way because it just told you, hey, here's what we can't do in order to give a game away?
I think that every game has a silver lining to it, some way, shape, or form. I think that taught us to really keep control of the football. We had some turnovers, certain points in the game that cost us. But I think that game taught us most out of any game we've played this year. You learn more from the losses, I believe, and that game, it was a close one. We could have won it. I believe that we should have won it. The lessons that we learned from that game, I think, are going to carry over into the postseason. I really think that we have to take advantage of the chances we get, and you can't go back. I mean, so we have to make sure we get it done then.
I think it showed up the very next week with St. Vincent. That wasn't just a win. It was a convincing win over a team you've had some struggles with the last couple of years. Chase, was that kind of the mood that week in practice? Nothing like what happened against Columbia has happened again?
It was Columbia was definitely a wake-up call, and then St. Vincent, we came out and gave it our best, and we ended up winning. It was good for us. We needed it.
That's 40 points in each of the last 2 weeks now between that and then Chaffee on Friday night. Ryan, I'll let you answer because guys like yourself, like Eric, Chase out wide, Cameron Hagen's had a very good year at fullback. What do you feel like in your eyes, if we do this every week that we play well on offense, this is what makes us so good on offense?
I feel like we play really good whenever we're playing as a team together, whenever we're all on the same page, clicking at the same time. And I feel like we know we can beat anyone we play as long as we stick together and play as a team.
That said, I'm sure defense is the fun part. And Coach Dallas obviously leads you guys there. How much do you feel like the fact that he's kind of seen it all as a football coach, that helps you guys and it allows you to learn some things about the game you maybe wouldn't have learned elsewhere?
Yeah, his experience for sure helps. He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to put us in the right positions to make plays.
Eric, even in some of the losses this year, like the Tolton game, you play well, obviously, through a half, and the St. Pius loss earlier in the year, you guys have still played well, especially on the defensive end. When you're going good, what do you feel like you see on the defensive side?
Whenever we're going good, I feel like we all know where each other are. And we just fill our own personal roles. And as a team, when that happens and everybody's doing their role, I feel like that makes the team better on defense.
certainly has shown up for the most part this season on the defensive end, and that obviously gets you out of this week with Cuba coming to your place. Not just a home playoff game, but a chance to win a playoff game, which the program hasn't done since the district format flipped in 2012. I'll go around the table to wrap up then. Clayton, you can start. What would it mean for you to be able to get that playoff victory?
I think as a player that's not going on to a further level of football, I think this is everything you work for. It's our senior year. This is the last hurrah, I guess. Is our chance to show that everything we've worked for, this is kind of where it has to pay off and go as far as we can.
Chase, what do you feel like you guys have to do well in order to beat Cuba?
Well, I mean, we got to gang tackle, we got to all tackle, and we got to play together. And let's see. Against Cuba, let's see. We got to, like I said, just gang tackle big guys, tackle them at their legs.
Ryan, as somebody who we mentioned is starting to take on more responsibility this year, what would it mean for you to not just win on Friday night, but to play well in process?
Just like Clayton was saying, this is the final. This is as big as it gets for us, especially not moving on after high school. Just everything that's going to pay off are in these last few games.
Eric, what would it mean for you to win on Friday?
It'd mean a whole lot to me and our team and the school's culture too. Like, we haven't had a district win in many years, and to bring that to our school our last year, that'd be something special, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, we certainly hope that is the case for you guys, because it's been an awesome year, and it'd be nice to add that to your resume. Congratulations on what you've done. Best of luck on Friday night, and thank you for coming down and joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Clayton Riddle, Chase Wilson, Ryan Rubel, and Eric O'Brien of the Grandview Eagles there with us here this evening, as they have had an excellent year, 6-3 under head coach Dave Dallas. They'll be playing Cuba, Class 2 District 2 quarterfinals in Dittmer this coming Friday night. We're going to talk about that game and more when the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable continues in just a couple minutes here on J98.
According to
Roundtable here on J98. Big thank you to the Grandview Eagles for being our special guests. Glad to get the players fed and get to talk to them about the excellent season that they have had as they head into the district playoffs next week, taking on Cuba. A big thank you again to Amy Cousins for hosting us all season here at Applebee's in Farmington. They've got some excellent specials. The Mountain Dew Darkberry Bash, if you're an adventurous person looking for a new drink, is available.
Garrett, have you had the Mountain Dew Darkberry Bash?
I haven't, but we might see.
What do you know?
He heard Mountain Dew. That's all he needed. Those Appalachian people, for some reason, they cannot get enough of Mountain Dew. But we hope that you will come out to Applebee's in Farmington at some point here in the next couple weeks. We will be, as mentioned, on the air next week with the Hillsboro Hawks joining us. And then after that, just kind of have to play it by ear on whether or not that is our penultimate or last show of the season. Dave Dallas, Grandview Eagles coach, is with us right now. We'll dive into the entire Week 10 schedule here in just a sec, but just wanted to get your take on a couple of things for your team this season. In talking to you in the summer, it felt like, these kids were as motivated as ever. You didn't have to do anything to get them to zero in. They were ready to not just be as good as last year, but be better. That said, was there ever, maybe even after like Father Tolton, was there ever kind of a refocus moment, or have they always kind of just been business-like all year?
A refocus moment at Father Tolton. What are you talking about? We had to do a reset after that. No, they've been a group that we've never really had two bad practices in a row. They've kind of taken it upon themselves to take care of business the next day if you challenge them, and I think we got good leadership. I think just a familiarity of what they know, what I want and our coaches want, and I think that folds over in our practice. I think the familiarity with our schemes and different things of that nature, I think it makes it a lot easier to be able to do that.
I feel like the impact that the last class and this group is having is evident on the roster right now, because you got kids like Cameron Hagan who are making plays for you and being impact players as sophomores, guys that are ready to go right now. Austin Blankenship transferring in. There was no real mesh problem. He's been excellent for you. It feels like it'd be easy to want to play when you have those type of senior leaders out there.
Yeah, it is. We have several sophomores that are contributing right now. Nash Moore has started every ball game at linebacker for us, inside backer, and that right there beside Blankenship. And Ethan Odolini, he started as a freshman, 4 games as a freshman last year, right guard for us. He started every ball game this year for us, a guard and nose guard. So some of those guys are kind of going unnoticed. So that our sophomore class is a really good class. We're real thin in our junior class, but our sophomore class, we got good numbers and our good football players, and they're getting a lot of experience right now. And I don't know that we'll miss some of these guys. Will definitely be missed. I think their leadership and those things, but I think we'll be able to grow from that.
Griffin was talking to your assistant coach before we came on the show about the fact that you get people involved in the program even before they get to high school. Are you feeling the enthusiasm for football moving down into some of the younger people that want to become Eagles and players at the high school level?
Our community's done a great job, and that goes back to Mike Ginge. I think Mike did a really good job of getting the gridiron program started at Grandview, and it's bought in, and a lot of our middle school coaches now were guys that were in our gridiron program, and we brought them up, and we brought them up through. So yeah, I think that enthusiasm starting to grow for us in our community.
It's a fun facility to go watch a football game out at Dittmer for sure, too. And hopefully there is a packed crowd out there on Friday night. One common opponent with you in Cuba, obviously, in Jefferson. So there's that tape, but the Jays are a great team, so they can kind of muddy that up. What do you feel like you've learned about Cuba so far this week?
Obviously, I think Cuba's much better than a one-win football team. I don't think there's any question about that. And they're playing really well right now. And we have Principia would be a common foe. We played each other, but we played week 1, and they played Jefferson week 1. So and then they played Cuba, or they played Principia last week. So Principia and Cuba played last week, and they beat them 56-6, and we beat Principia 49-0 in week 1. So I think we're a better football team than we were week 1, and I think they're a better football team than they are from the beginning of the year when they played Jefferson. So we've got to play well. It's a good football team. We can't take anything for granted, but we're excited about going out and playing them. And we feel like, last year we didn't play very well, and we're not going to have that same experience this year. I can promise you that.
They looked pretty determined, the guys here tonight, to make sure that wasn't going to happen. Offensively, from a scheme point, the fact that you can trust Cameron to be an every down kind of fullback, and that gives you Eric O'Brien and Ryan Brubel with the wings. And after Chase Wilson got hurt, started out by splitting him out wide and playing receiver. Against St. Pius, that worked well in the passing game. But as he's carried the ball more the last couple of weeks, do you feel like you're at this point because you can move him out wide, he's not necessarily on the wing, that makes you as diverse as possible?
The last couple of weeks, Chase Wilson's been at the wing.
Yeah.
And he had 105 yards rushing last week and 125 in receiving yards. So and Ryan, Chase, and Eric have been in the backfield, and Cameron's repped a little bit less the last couple of weeks. Gives us a break. But Ryan kind of went down tweaked his knee on Friday night a little bit and didn't play the whole ball game. So we really missed him offensively and defensively. But Cameron played a key role in that. But those guys when they're clicking, and Clayton does a good job of reading things. And we're not the same offensive football team we were last year. I mean, obviously we're on a whole different offensive scheme. So, no, we feel like we just makes us more versatile. And we've got some more formations with Chase in there to get him out at the slot and get in the football in the passing game still and play at the wing. And I mean, it's made us. I think it's putting him in there. It's helped the other guys. It's taking some pressure off of them.
Yeah, and a quarterback who's a year older helps a lot. Clayton
Yes.
Riddle getting to run it full time has done an excellent job for you. I'll let you go because you've been well fed, but just one more.
I've been well fed, and thank you for that. We really appreciate you guys feeding us.
Yeah,
that's big time. Because in Ditmer, the best restaurants are concession stand. It's the only restaurant.
And you gotta walk up the hill a little bit to get there. So.
That's never bad. I think that the best hamburger you are ever going to get is at your local high school football game.
Yeah,
and our place, our ladies do a great job there. I promise you that.
We certainly hope people are out there on Friday night to see your team. I would simply wrap by asking what I asked the kids about what it would mean for you guys to be able to add playoff victory, not everything else you've been able to do.
I think it would mean a lot for not only these guys but our community, and I mean it's because we are our community. I mean we're our Grandview High School is the community. I mean there's not a major city. I mean we're sitting there in Ware, Missouri, that people knows where Ware is. I mean there's a sign there, but where it is I don't know. It would mean a lot for everybody. I mean we've came a long way, but I think these guys would just pick them up a lot. I think, and they deserve it. These guys have been through a lot the last 4 years, and to put up with me for 4 years is more than anything. So, that would mean a tremendous amount to our community.
Yeah, it wrap up a nice week for the school with volleyball playing for a district championship last night.
Yeah, and they got a lot better. I was really proud of our girls.
Yeah.
I mean that Jefferson team is the real deal now.
Mm-hmm. And most importantly, you could tell your son with all those national championship wins, hey, I got playoff wins too. There's no need to worry about it.
I let him know that all the time. So.
you had the college playoff wins long before him, so
I still got more wins than he does.
And that's why you get the big drumstick at Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Coach, appreciate you coming down. Thank you.
He deserves it.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Dave Dallas, Grandview Eagles head coach. They'll be playing Cuba coming up here on Friday night in the Class 2 District 2 quarterfinals. The winner gets Duchenne next week in the district semis. Let's dive into the schedule here for Week 10 in total. Tell you about some of the matchups that we've got this evening, all of which are, or not this evening, but Friday night, all of which are pretty fascinating. The buys, of course, want to mention that the Central Rebels, Valley Catholic Warriors, and Hillsboro Hawks are all off. Valley Catholic is a 2 seed in their district, but they will have a bye week this week. That, I think, happened in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
They found out that one of the teams dropped out. And so, whereas on Friday night we thought they'd be playing Bayless, that's St. Jen's opponents coming up on Friday evening.
Yeah, that is just huge news. Again, for Judd Nagger, that whole Valley team, the fact that they get a week off, you can rest up, and then you get more time to prepare for that tough St. Jen defense.
So let's dive into the matchups. A team that Grandview beat a couple weeks ago, Class 1 District 1 quarterfinals, is the St. Vincent Indians. They're the 2 seed, even with some of the struggles at the end of the year, those close losses to St. Pius and Jefferson. They'll get to stay a 2 seed, and they'll get to host Charleston to open things up. The Jefferson Blue Jays are the number 4 seed in Class 2 District 1. They will host 5th seeded Kelly. I believe that's one of the playoff wins they got last season on their way to a district championship. I mentioned Grandview hosting Cuba in Class 2 District 2. In Class 3 District 2 in the quarterfinals, Herculaneum, the 4 seed, gets a home playoff game. They host Roosevelt, while the 3rd seed St. Genevieve Dragons welcome Bayless into town. In Class 4 District 1, the 4th seed Festus hosting the Sykeston Bulldogs, while the only other matchup of area teams besides the games you'll hear on regional radio sees the DeSoto Dragons, the number 7 seed, go to Bonne Terre and take on 2nd seeded North County. North County is hosting a district championship in volleyball, by the way, tonight. Class 4 District 2 quarterfinals will see the Windsor Owls, the 5 seed, go on the road to take on 4th seeded Gateway. The Class 5 District 1 quarterfinals has the Fox Warriors as the 4 seed, so they get to host 5th seeded Melville. That's an opponent Fox beat earlier in the year. 2nd seed is the Sequin Jaguars. They're hosting 7th seeded Cape Central. And then in Class 6 District 1, the Northwest Lions, despite that 4-game win streak to end the season, how good is their district? 3 of the top 10 teams in the state in Class 6 are in it. They're the 7 seed. They'll have to go on the road and play an excellent 2nd-seeded Marquette team on Friday night. Gentlemen, anything about these games, any game on that schedule that really jumps out to you?
This maybe a look at one of the districts. Griff and I held court at the station earlier this week about the relative merits of the playoff system, and agree with it or disagree with it.
A minor conversation.
It's all math, right? I mean, your wins, your opponent's record, their wins, different things like that. I think one area where I feel like maybe it failed this year is in Class 2 District 1. I think Jefferson as a 4 seed could win that district.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying they're an upset special. I don't consider if they won that district, I wouldn't consider it an upset at all. I think New Madrid County Central probably deserving at that number 1 spot. They're 7-1, but you take a look at the other records in that district, and Lift for Life is 5-4. They're the 2 seed. Carnahan is 4-3. They're the 3 seed, and then you go to Jefferson, who's 7-2. I know that Carnahan and Lift for Life play, some higher class teams. But for me, the wins that Jefferson has speak more than the schedules that the other teams have for me. Jefferson playing Kelly in week number 1. I think they're going to be just fine there. And then in week 2, they have to play the number 1 seeded New Madrid County Central squad. They got to drive at least 3 hours to get down there. That's the challenge. I think they can win that district as the 4, though.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they've done this. They were the 3 seed a year ago in Class 2 District 1 when they went on and won the district. And that championship game was actually the 4 seed New Madrid County against the 3 seed Jefferson. Holding court sounds like an understatement from what I heard about that discussion. If you've ever played the video game Ace Attorney, it sounds like that, where there were just lawyers left and right. Objection! Both you guys going at it.
It was a good conversation. It was healthy. It was a healthy conversation.
It was a healthy conversation. Yeah. There was, I wouldn't say input from others around the station. There was input from a couple, but then there were others who were just kind of like walking in, just watching us have this
discourse.
Yes, discourse.
It would have been good to have in the air.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to press record next time.
yeah, perhaps. I still have some gripes that I can air out, but maybe for another night.
I will, instead of those gripes, I will ask you if there is a game on the schedule for this week that excites you.
There is, really, it's all Class 4 District 1 that is exciting me. That Sykeston Festus matchup
district.
at 5-4. It really is, because I think, you can make the case for not even just the top 4 teams, that could come out and win that, but really anyone I think could come away with it. It's going to be very exciting. The Festus-Sykeston matchup, that is, very intriguing to me. Obviously, the winner of that game would go on to play the number 1 seed Hillsboro. And then you got Farmington and Perryville. We'll talk about that in a little bit, coming up. North County playing DeSoto. There's just so much that could go on. I don't think that anything is for certain in that Class 4 District.
I think Hillsboro has demonstrated that they are a cut above, but it's not a huge slice.
Yeah.
It's a thin slice.
Yeah.
Because they played, the great game with Festus that they pulled out at the end. They faced a North County team and beat them convincingly, but North County not a full power, and maybe. Yeah,
Hillsboro, they completely deserve the 1 seed. They're a top 10 team in the state, so they're completely deserving of the 1. They deserve the bye and everything, but that North County game would be very interesting to watch. There's just so much that can happen in Class 4 District 1.
The potential matchup between North County and Farmington in the second round is, I think,
that fascinates
has a chance to be a really good. I know that North County beat them convincingly in week 1, but Farmington to me has come as far as anybody during the season. So.
Completely different team. I think it would be a much more a much more competitive four-quarter ball game. Should that happen in Bonne Terre and Phillsborough and Festus was a terrific round one. Hopefully, we get something like that maybe next week in the district semifinals. Garrett, game that jumps out for you this week?
Well, these guys took my 1 and 2, so I guess I'll just hold the same sentiment as these guys. First with Griff, I mean, Class 4, District 1, pretty loaded. And that top four, watching those four teams battle it out, potentially, obviously, will be really, really fun. And also Jefferson being a 4 seed, I'm kind of with Chad on this one. I think they're the top 2 seed at best, and I think they'll probably make that district championship game. And it's going to be a fun district playoff. That's all I got to say about that, though.
I had a chance to talk to Blue Jays head coach Alex Rugley last night. I was out at Jefferson High School, and he feels like they're going to get a Kelly team very similar to the one that they were able to knock off last year in the district playoffs. So he feels like as long as they execute, they'll be in good shape on their home field. And then comes a real good test with New Madrid County Central the following week, the 1 seed, because that looks to be a better version of the team Jefferson beat for a district title a year ago.
And as long as we have the brackets in front of us, it's almost like the NCAA tournament. You're always, hey, we could have this matchup here and this matchup here. Griff referenced it earlier in the show. You hope that we think St. Genevieve's moving.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, we think that.
You can't allude to it.
I think they're going to be Bayless. And then you hope, St. Genevieve, you hope in that next round is going to be better than the first meeting. But then St. Mary's, just kind of the monster out there. And so you've got St. Mary's that you feel like is going to move along and get into that title game. And then, with the Valley St. Gen winner, what a huge challenge would await them in Class 3. Central is on the other side in Class 1. They would be the presumptive favorite to take that. You have Kennett there. Kennett's always a good ball club, right? I mean, but you have Central as the presumptive favorite right there, and the winners of those districts would meet. That's something we talked about, at the beginning of the year. So you're just kind of projecting ahead and saying, in my bracket, this is a fun thing that could happen.
And if it does end up being Valley and St. Mary's in that Class 3 District 2 championship, that's a state championship game 3 weeks before the state championship.
Potentially, yeah.
1 and 2 in the Class 3 rankings right now, and then the winner might get number 7 in Central down the line as well. There is some good football being played on this half of the state for sure.
We're talking about other gripes. Why is St. Mary's in the same district as Valley?
We went through that, Griff.
Did we? Let's rehash.
The other one, Nathan, I don't know if we've touched on this. I mean, Jackson is the team in Missouri right now, regardless of class. Defending state champions. They've gone wire to wire as the number 1 team. They're 9-0. Nobody's gotten close to them. But then you've got Seckman and Fox both in that district. A chance for Seckman to make school history. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to beat Cape. I think they're going to move to the next round, and I think, my opinion, they're going to meet Poplar Bluff right there. I think that's going to be. I think has a potential to be a really good semifinal there.
That's such an incredible clash of styles. Seckman tries to beat you 3 yards at a time, just run Cole Rubel right down your throat, and Poplar Bluff, meanwhile, is a wide open offensive team. That would be a fascinating battle. I will say for the Fox Warriors, few teams know Jackson as well as they do. That was a year-in, year-out opponent. Come district playoff time, and Brent Tinker just put them on the schedule the last couple of years to make sure they were ready. So they'll have an idea of what's coming with Jackson should they win this week and get to that one. So plenty of great games on the schedule in Week 10. We've got a trio of really outstanding matchups coming your way on regional radio. We're going to go ahead and take a time out, come on back, and we'll wrap up the show by telling you about the games that we'll be bringing you on Friday night on our regional radio airwaves as we start the Gridiron playoffs. That is next when the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable continues right here on J98. Back for one final time tonight here from Applebee's in Farmington. Colts Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98. Just a brief look ahead for you on regional radio for high school sports coverage beyond the gridiron. Thursday night, we will have coverage of high school volleyball playoffs for you. The Farmington Knights are playing a district championship game right now against Cape Central. If they win, they'll take on either North County or St. Pius, who are playing in the Class 4 District 2 championship game. We will have that match, North County and St. Pius, against either Farmington or Cape Central, coming your way on regional radio. It'll be on AM 800 KREI. If St. Pius is involved, you can also hear it on AM 1400 KGF Thursday evening. And then Saturday, kind of have to wait and see how the rest of the volleyball bracket plays out, but we're hoping to bring you some state quarterfinal action for the volleyball postseason on J98. Missouri Tiger football returns this weekend as well. After the bye week, Mizzou back in action against Vanderbilt. Somebody's going to get their first SEC win of the year when the Tigers visit the Commodores. Pregame coverage is at noon. Kickoff at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. You can catch that on both KREI and KJF.
Should be a win for Missouri, just from the way that Vanderbilt has looked this year. Yeah, we know how Missouri has looked as well, but Vanderbilt is,
If there were ever time for a bye week, it would be after the loss they took that dropped them to 3-4, and then getting to come out of it playing a team like Vanderbilt. So we will see how that goes on Saturday.
By the way, Valley Catholic and St. Genevieve were playing for district title tonight. Battle of St. Genevieve. Valley just completed the sweep, 27-25 in the third. So good third set, but Valley moves on.
Warriors are ranked top 5 in the state in Class 3 for a reason. That's a very, very good team that they've put together this year.
And Farmington sweeps Cape. That one just coming out.
So we can say that the Farmington Knights play and host a Class 4 state sectional on Thursday night. It'll be either North County or St. Pius on AM 800 KREI for sure. If St. Pius is involved, you can catch it on AM 1400 KJFF as well. Let's tell you about the football we've got for you to open the playoffs on regional radio Friday night. We will start on AM 800 KREI, Class 4 District 1 quarterfinals, as the third-seeded Farmington Knights host the sixth-seeded Perryville Pirates. Chad, it's kind of funny. Perryville, when they're at their best, and Garrett, you've seen the Pirates and Knights both too, Perryville would just like to run Devin Lukenfar right at you, straight downhill. Farmington likes to do that. It's just they've varied up who gets the football now.
Kind of a head knocker in this one, huh? Perryville 2-7 on the year. They were a 2-2 ball club at one point this year with wins over Windsor and Fredericktown. And these two actually not uncommon playoff opponents. They actually played each other 3 years in a row, 17, 16, 15. Farmington winning all of those matchups in lopsided fashion, but Garrett's done both of these programs this year, so Garrett will have a nice idea on how the matchup looks.
And when it comes to Perryville's schedule, like they kind of got the short end of the stick when it comes to some of their opponents. They played some really great teams. Just think on the top of my head, Central and St. Genevieve are two teams that they had to play, and those are two great offenses. They didn't have a good time out there. But, yes, these two teams are very, very similar. I would say Farmington more of a pure triple option, but Perryville does really like to run the football. Devin Lucifer is a guy that they're going to give the ball to a lot. That's kind of something that this Farmington defense, should need to key on, is that guy Devin Lucifer, because if he gets the ball, he gets his head down, he's a hard man to tackle. It's going to take 3, maybe 4 nights to bring that kid down.
Talked to Eric Krupe a little bit today, and Perryville has kind of tried to formation some people too, that they'll come tight, they'll spread you out, they'll run jets, they'll come between the tackles, and he says really the key for his team, recognizing the formation and knowing what they do out of it, and that way you can be in the right place.
And another thing with Perryville is last game out, they really struggled to throw the football, but they have thrown the football quite well. They will do it. So hopefully Farmington doesn't fall asleep, if you're a Knight fan, that they don't fall asleep on some of those pass plays, because they got some receivers that can make it happen.
And an interesting aspect for Farmington, too, they haven't thrown the football really all year. Now, they do a few times a game. They look for explosive plays out of it. Central took away the Farmington triple option as well as any team I've seen in the last few years. And for the first and only time, they did kind of let Drew Felker cut loose in the passing game. And he looked pretty sharp, completed 12 out of 18. and almost all of the targets went to Jake Bishop, who caught 12 balls for 141 yards. In fact, all but 2 passes, Bishop gets credit for catching, but he actually caught all but 1 pass. One he doesn't get credit for because it was a hook and ladder, and the guy that he laddered to gets the yards on the reception. So for Farmington, even though they lost against Central, they may have actually gained something because for the first time in a few years, they actually had a concerted effort to utilize the passing game.
And I will say this about Perryville defensively. They played well when it came into Herculaneum running up the middle, trying to go off tackle. They really couldn't do that. But Herculaneum couldn't. But when it came to going outside, going over that tackle position, it was hard for the Perryville defense to stop that. And, that's something that where Jeremiah Cunningham and Brady Cook, they've been 2 dynamic players, especially on that outside, can spell trouble for Perryville. So I feel like they're going to need to key on that if, they want to have a chance and actually be competitive in this game.
Can't let Maya Cunningham or Casey McLean get loose the way DJ Johnson did for Herculaneum if you are the Perryville Pirates when they travel to Hale Memorial Stadium Friday to take on the Farmington Knights. That's on KREI. On KJFF, AM 1400, the Class 1 District 2 quarterfinals, the 6th-seeded Crystal City Hornets go really down the street to take on the 3rd-seeded St. Pius Lancers. It's interesting because St. Pius is in one of the best seasons in school history right now. Their first conference title in 2 decades came a couple of weeks ago. They've piled up the wins, and you think dropping down from Class 2 to Class 1, now they're going to be a postseason contender. And the first hurdle they have to clear is as good a team as Crystal City has had in a couple of years, and one that is going to be very fired up because they've played so well of late, and they are going to want to win what was a conference rivalry once upon a time and is now a rivalry renewed in the playoffs.
Well, I'll say this about St. Pius real quick is that, they are also pretty hot. Looking at that Valley Catholic game, that's kind of a we didn't care kind of thing. I was talking to Dan Oliver earlier today. He was like, yeah, we just wanted to get some of our bench players in and see what they could do out there on the field. So I really don't look at that game, but they've come into this game hot. Colin Smith, Debris, and Moss have been playing out of their minds, especially when it comes to the loss of Nate Rubel, and they'll actually not have Nate Rubel again for this game.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
Dan Oliver, they're still resting him for this game, but when it comes to Crystal City, they're going to play hard. Their kids are ready. Talking to Dan Fox as well today. 2 coaches in one day, that's not a bad track record on a Tuesday, but they're going to be fired up. They want this win very, very much, and especially for those seniors that have been through some tough times.
They've got the biggest win sandwich you can have. You got a loss to Monroe City, who's the 1 seed in their district, lost to Valley, and all wins in between. So maybe their losses is instrumental in as their wins this year. Those are a couple good programs you lost to, and they took care of business everywhere else.
Like Jameis Winston eating a W.
There
Sorry,
you
I
go.
had to throw that in there.
Include in the Jefferson game. What a giant win that was.
And I think like that win really sparked this team to be I-55 champions. They really kind of coasted. Of course, Valley's Valley, but other than that, they've kind of coasted to this I-55 championship game. But I'm really very interested in this game because this is the first time really seeing Crystal City, and I know that they've improved a lot. So I'm really excited to see some of those juniors, too. There's a lot of juniors on that team that make plays. There's only really 1 senior, but he does lead the team in receiving and rushing, Callaway Dashner. But everybody else, junior, sophomores that can make plays happen. So Crystal City might have a solid future.
That's why I think Dan Fox is so excited. It means he has a team he can believe in to win games for the next 2 years, not just this season. Camden Bolton, Caden Raftery are a couple of those guys who have been playmakers. And for St. Pius, obviously, without Rubel, expect a heavy dose of Debris and Moss probably on both sides of the football.
Austin McGuckin as well. He's going to be getting a lot of carries.
Yeah.
That's the Class 1 District 2 quarterfinals with St. Pius hosting Crystal City. That one is on AM 1400 KJF. And then on J98 The Boot, Class 3 District 1 quarterfinals. 5th-seeded Fredericktown visits 4th-seeded Potosi. We've had the Black Cats on, talk to their coaches and players. They want this one badly. And if you're Potosi, here's an opportunity to get a playoff win that would pull you back to 500 on the season and would pretty well solidify that despite some bumps in the road, this is still a really good team that will make the Central Rebels think a lot about them if they are able to win and move on to face them next week.
Yeah, I was going to do the look-ahead thing. I've been doing that all night. The winner of this game does play the Central Rebels, so that's not, a great date for Week 2 of the district playoffs. But this is going to be an exciting game because, I don't think it's going to go the way the first game did back in week 3 when Potosi won 62-20 and Gavin Portell had 3 touchdowns over 170 yards in the first quarter of that game. Because, the reason that Fredericktown wanted to play Potosi again was in the second quarter of that game, they did outplay Potosi. They looked really good. It was the vision that I think Jake Whitener has seen, wants to see with this team. It was unveiled in the second quarter of that game. That's 1 out of 4 quarters. You have to play 4 quarters if you want to win a football game.
Well, he's harped on that every week too, hasn't he, Griff?
That's
like 4 quarters. 4 quarters.
Yeah. He's harped on the 4 quarters thing. So I'm hoping to talk to him over the next couple of days. We know, the situation in Fredericktown. They were out of school yesterday, out of school today as well. So I don't think the team has been practicing, for the past couple of days either. I'm going to have to get word from Jake Whitener on that. Don't quote me on that, please. But, hopefully we'll see exactly where the mentality of the team is in regards to everything that happened over this weekend and the game for this Friday. But this team is going to come out playing. This Fredericktown Black Cat team, they're not going to roll over. They're going to play hard. They wanted this game. They got it. For Potosi, they're just going to have to go back to that passing game and how well that they excelled against Fredericktown in that week 3 game. I don't know if they're going to be able to put up 60 points again. They're very capable of doing it, but it's all going to come down to the game plan for Jake Whitener and for Potosi coach Dylan Wyrick. So this, I think this can end up being a very close matchup. But again, the week after that is a meeting with the Central Rebels, and that's not going to be an easy one.
They've been looking for a way to fill the void for Blake Henson since he went down early in the year. Same last 133 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. So maybe they're headed somewhere running the ball as well. And obviously, mention what's going on in all of Madison County, South St. John County. Our thoughts, our prayers continue to be with those who are in the middle of a recovery mode. No way to put it. As they try to get back just about anything from some of the homes that were lost and all the other things that were lost in the storms on Sunday night.
All of a sudden, a playoff football game, not the most important thing anymore, but also all of a sudden, hey, with all the bad news, maybe something to take your mind off of it just for a little bit.
Yeah, it would be a nice thing to just be able to take a deep breath, I'm sure, on Friday night after everything that's already happened the last couple of days for those folks. We certainly continue to keep them close to us as they continue the recovery process down there. Fredericktown at Potosi on J98 Friday night in the Class 3 District 1 quarterfinals. And as mentioned, it is Farmington hosting Perryville Class 4 District 1 on KREI, while Crystal City goes to St. Pius in Class 1 District 2 on KJF Friday night. It'll all begin with the Fleek Squibin pregame show at 6 o'clock. Just like the regular season, we get you set for all the games. Of course, these are the big ones. And then the high school football playoffs kickoff at 7 o'clock on Friday night. We look forward to bringing it to you, as well as some high school volleyball postseason action through the rest of this week. But we need to head on out and say so long tonight from Applebee's in Farmington. Again, next week, back for at least one more edition of the show. The Hillsboro Hawks going to join us ahead of their district semifinal matchup. But until then, Chad Speaker, Griffin Weinberg, Garrett Davenport, and our terrific producer, Hunter Greavy, back in the studio, man in the booth this evening, weathering the storm. We say so long tonight from Applebee's in Farmington. Thanks for listening to the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable. I'm Nathan Gertz. Talk to you next week. Until then, so long, friends.
Cozy Memorial Chapel has been respected.